going on, man?
Dude,
I like the tunes.
fuck yeah, man. Dude,
Hell yeah.
happy Friday, brother.
Thank you. You too.
Dude, I see you're always rocking the freaking Game of Thrones chair every time.
I have to. I have to. Here, I love this thing. I love this thing. There we go.
Dude, where'd you even get that at?
I got it on there was a website right when like COVID hit that had this crazy sale like on throne chairs. It was like NYC Thrones or something like that. And it was like I have a second one, and it was like you bought like two for the price of one, and then sliced that in half, and it was just like a great deal, and I couldn't say no. I had the suspicion maybe they wouldn't show up, but they did, and they look great. So I was like, all right, cool.
Hey, dude, COVID deals are real, man. There's some steals
Oh,
right now. Everyone just trying to, cleared out the inventory.
for sure, for sure. Yes, absolutely. I agree, 100%.
Well, dude, thank you for your time on your Friday, man. I know we've been bouncing
Of
back
course.
like this whole
Yeah,
time,
dude.
man.
It's my pleasure, man.
Dude, congrats on being a GuitarWorldMagazine.com, man.
Dude,
Fucking,
I'm still having a hard time believing it. But you know what? It's like, it's a dream come true. It is, and I'm just so thankful that they dug the song that much, and they asked me about a playthrough video, and I was like, absolutely. So, and shout out to Richie and all them because I know you know
hey.
as well. So,
Mutual friend, if you guys don't know, he's in a band called Mindscar. Great guys,
yep.
great bands. It's actually funny because when I interviewed them a couple months ago, I put Tommy on the spot, and I made him like, so who's better at shredding? If there's going to be a shred off, it's going to be Alyssa or Richie. So who do you think is going to be better?
Oh, you got to hit me with that? Oh, man. Oh. Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I have had the pleasure of seeing both of them play up close and personal. Alyssa's a fantastic player. She just blows my mind every time. And little known fact, we actually, she used to teach me like little snippets every now and then. And, she's just an incredible player. And then Richie, I've just known forever. And maybe I'll go with seniority. I'll pull that card and I'll just go with Richie because I've known him longer. But I mean, hey, they're great, phenomenal musicians in the band,
Oh, yeah.
and when them doing what they're doing is just, I
Alyssa's
aspire to be
music,
that good.
dude, Alyssa's music theory is just like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She would try and explain it to me a little bit, and I'd just be like, sorry, I'm not getting it.
I get it, dude. There's some people who are just like, they feel it, and other people
Yeah.
are just straight. They know how to get theory down and can apply all the modes and scales. I'm like, God bless.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm with you on that. I take a lot of pride in trying to portray more emotion and feeling than worrying more about technicalities, pretty much. But I mean, yeah, there's some knowledge I have a little bit that helps, but I just kind of base it off of ear or whatever.
Dude, it's kind of like an interesting split we have right now with, modern musicians and older musicians. It's like, back in the day, you could only really get freaking John Petrucci's book or Steve Vai or something like that, watch it over and over
Yeah.
and do all the drills, and then kind of learn from yourself and go on the road and play thousands of different bands before they all suck and you found a good band to play in.
Yeah, yep.
And now everyone can learn online and learn different scales and modes and everything together. And it's like now we have these weird two different generation gaps.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool. I think, because funny story, I still, a lot of people ask me this, but like when I started playing guitar, it was actually in 2009. And that was like when YouTube was starting to just kind of happen and, or becoming more popular. And that was when I was actually able to kind of like watch the old Metallica videos and just kind of slow them down and what are they trying to do, what are they doing and just trying to figure it out and stuff like that. So that's kind of where that happened. So that in what you're saying is like where I kind of started learning is in that gap, because like I didn't have I later did, I guess on YouTube, the old videos and like the I had to go find the old tab books and stuff like that. But
Oh, dude, you even back that was like the I think the golden like the rare age back when
Yeah.
ultimateguitartabs.com was up and like everyone
Yeah.
was putting tabs down.
Everybody. And I remember too seeing people getting chewed out, like, no, that's not right, and this, that. And I'm like, oh my God, like the guy tried, like give him a break. Like you tried to figure it out, you know. But it's like it was exactly those were the days. I still use that site every now and then.
Oh, dude, I think they've upgraded to like you have to do a paid version to look at it stuff. Much I get it, you know, they got to make money, but
Yeah, yeah.
they're still the OGs, the first true tab website out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, dude, from you learning and do that like over at least almost pretty much over 2 decades ago, what would you think is some underrated guitar players nowadays that you think don't get enough spotlight? Kind of
Oh
seeing
man.
that wave of like new metal and kind of like the change and flow stuff.
I think you know, it's like it's interesting because like if you look in the decades, right? Or in the yeah, decades. If you look throughout the decades, you have like that generational player. Obviously in the 80s you had Eddie Van Halen that just kind of blew it all out of the water. And he literally like changed the technique of playing guitar, right? So that you would consider probably like the guy of that decade, right? So then it's like you get into like this decade and you have like Tosin Abasi, you know, you have Angel Vivaldi, you have Andy James, and it's basically they're just evolutions of what has been going on in this genre of, you know, like shred, you know, whatever you want to call it, instrumental music. And you know, it's just cool because there's so many people now that, especially with social media, you're able to get out there and people can discover you faster. So it's like there's so many people, and you know, I'm really digging, of course, Angel Vivaldi. I think he's just a phenomenal player. He makes it look effortless. Andy James again, good friend of
Love his new
mine.
album.
Love his
Great album.
playing. Yeah, oh yeah, he kills it every time. And those are the guys that you know, you look up to, and you're just like, holy crap, you know, they kind of set the bar. And then you fastly realize how much you have to practice.
They just make you feel like, holy crap, Jesus, what am I
Yeah,
doing?
I mean, but you know what though? It's cool because they all have their type of, you know, their signature style, and that's what makes these people, you know, very successful and very good at what they do, you know, and they're those type of dudes, you know. And now who's next? You know, we don't know, you know, they're coming. There's great players, you know, and then that's just, I guess, the evolution of things. So we'll probably be saying the same thing 20 years from now, like, oh yeah, remember that guy? Yeah.
I was privileged to see Tobin finally with the Generation Axe a couple of years ago with Steve Vai,
Oh,
Yngwie,
cool.
Zach Wild, Nuno Betancourt. That was freaking
Hmm.
phenomenal, crazy. It was just like it was like 5 hours of just straight shredding. It was like holy crap. But
That's so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, no, I remember the one time I saw Steve Vai live, and he just blew my mind. I've seen Zach. I haven't seen Nuno yet live, and I've seen Yngwie, of course, and I haven't seen Tosin live yet either. But like just seeing those guys, I mean, it's just like wow, what an event, you know.
and it's like
Just
I
go
even
home and
put
practice.
I put totally like Tobin. He's blown up like crazy, but still a lot of people don't know about him a lot still. But he is a phenomenal. This is crazy when you look at him and at his own guitar line, how unique the body shape is and how he's doing
Yeah,
it. I think he's
yeah,
taking legato playing and kind of like that gent heavy metal sound to a whole different like orchestrated level.
I agree. Absolutely. Yeah, he's one of those guys. That's what I mean. And he's made like he did Jen pretty much. I mean, you know, them Periphery and you know, those were the guys that you heard about the most. And you know, he kind of just blew up out of nowhere, and not really out of nowhere, but you know, he just kind of blew up. And then like you know, you just have to admire his technique and his ability too. Like he just creates all kinds of new stuff, you know, and it's just amazing to watch. Because then it's like, you know, it's we're striving to be the best musicians we can by learning the most, and just watching someone like that's amazing.
Another like I think they don't get enough appreciation for their time, and one of them is
Yeah.
Tony Rombola from Godsmack. Dude, that guy is
Oh
one.
yeah.
He's like
Yeah.
ultimate dad-looking garage guy,
Yeah.
but
He
when he
shreds.
steps up, he blows me away. And like
Hmm.
as I've done recently some Godsmack covers, it's like hearing his playing style is so precise and fluid. It's so unique.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I saw him live at Chicago Open Air when Godsmack played, and I said the exact same thing you did. I was like, "Wow, what like a dad next door looking kind of dude," but man, does he rip on that freaking PRS he was playing, and I was just like, "Wow, man, like this guy." And then he got my respect the rest of the show. I was like, I was really blown away, and he's a phenomenal
And
player
then
too.
I always like to consider him like almost like the influencer to begin the gent sound, Greg Trippett
Mm-hmm.
from Mudvayne.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Just going in there from that drop A tuning and B's and going down to the scales. Jesus Christ, dude. It was ahead of its
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, it was for sure because now everybody's tuning. I'm tuning now, drop A, and that's kind of the standard now. It's like not really the standard, but at least no one's really playing in standard as much as anymore.
Yeah.
It's not as common anymore.
Oh, I think even most bands are like in C.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like a D standard, if like even that.
Well, now what do you prefer? Because most people now, if they're going to go at A, they're going to have a 7-string.
Yeah,
And
actually, yeah, I don't, I'm for some reason I love seven strings, but I just I can't get into it. Like it just throws my mind off, and like so I decided to drop a six string into a drop A tuning, and it's worked for me so far. I really like it. It's the way I EQ things that's able to kind of make the sound not as like low end heavy, or muddy. So like you can get a good sound, tuned lower, and so far I'm really digging it, and I think the highest I'll go is like D standard, and that's I have a couple guitars like that I just play Kiss on or stuff like that, and it's,
yeah.
it's just easy.
Well, dude, it's like, I forgot who said it. It was like, if you need to use a 7-string, you're not playing your 6-string good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Master the six first.
Yeah. Well, it's like, because I have a Jackson Rhodes, and I keep
All right,
that. I
nice.
use that for my A and B, because that
Nice.
fucker with EMG pickups in there, it's like, it fucking chugs with it.
EMGs all day.
But dude, you're a busy musician, man, and like I would say you're also a good study for a musician entrepreneur, as
Oh, thanks, man.
because you're taking things to the next level and evolving as the next generation instrumental musician. You
Oh,
just
dude,
had
thank you.
Rain and File released only like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Featured
Yeah, it was crazy. It's been nuts. I won't lie. I think COVID has affected not only myself, but every musician, every person in the entertainment, bar industry, everything like that. And there's been some challenges, and so far everything has been going really good, and I can't complain. And I'm also just very happy and excited and very thankful. Everybody that's taken the time to listen to this and share it, and like yourself, and offer these opportunities. It's just amazing, and I'm just overwhelmed sometimes. But it's just like, hey, okay, this gives me the motivation to keep going, and I'm just really excited too about the next song because that's going to be coming out very soon, September 16th.
Light Bearer,
So
right?
that's Light Bearer. So that's going to be the second single, and I'm just really excited to get that one out here. So I'm like, all right, come on, let's go.
Now, do you think you're going to put these together in an album, or are you going to keep this doing like singles?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the way things have been going, singles seem to be the popular route, and they seem to work the best. But I am gonna put them all on an album. So it's basically gonna be like the next single, Light Bearer, then there'll be probably like one or two next songs, and then there'll be a release of the full album or EP or however you want
Yeah.
to say it. But yeah, that's the plan. And the album or EP is going to be called Rain and Fire. So there'll be more, I think, details on that once I get a little closer to finishing because I'm just putting the finishing touches on the other songs and stuff like that right now. So
Now, do you mix and produce everything yourself, or do you send it out to somebody else you work with?
I actually work with Ben Johnson, who is not only my producer, but he's also my drummer. And we basically kind of co-write these songs together. And, I'll come to him with a riff or a melody idea, and he kind of maybe expands. And obviously, he writes the drums because I'm just not a drummer, so I don't really speak that language. But I can, I understand what I want, and
Yeah.
he just does. He has an amazing ability to kind of like know what I want before I know what I want, and he just, we just work great together. And so far, I've had a great time with him working, and we've been cranking out some amazing stuff, and we're just really excited to finally get it out. As well as in our other band that we're in, New Dilemma, which has been doing very well too. So I'm just like, oh man, shit.
Well, it's like because you're in an interesting crossroads now of because instrumental music is it is booming up way more,
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than ever.
yeah.
Nita Strauss put out a great record a few years ago. Ola
Mhm.
England out of Sweden put out a great one.
Yeah,
Andy James and John
yeah.
Petrucci just dropped a phenomenal new one.
Amazing. I was like,
Dude,
oh, I'm so happy he did that. But you know what? That's the thing. It's like, I think it is coming back, and it definitely has a place in, more of a mainstream type vibe too. And especially with everything going on, it's just like, hey, maybe I don't really feel like listening to some vocals right now. You know what I mean? Or maybe, maybe I do want to add vocals on one of my songs one day. I don't know, but it's cool. I dig it.
now do you find yourself as you're writing new music for yourself as a solo artist? Are you going to find yourself drifting more as a solo artist, or say like working with New Dilemma and working as a band?
Well, I do pretty much both. And, I'm always kind of open to, projects or whatever the case may be. But, I think as of right now, the solo project is going to be the main focus. And New Dilemma has stuff coming out as well. So shortly towards the end of the month. So I'm just kind of doing both, and we're just gonna see where they go and carry into the next year. Hopefully, with everything coming back to normal, and or some sort of normalcy. And we're just hoping and just trying to be prepared for when that comes. And that's, I guess, what
Yeah.
the goal is. You know.
Well, it's like, do you see, because you are a phenomenal guitar player, fucking a beautiful shredder.
Oh, dude,
And,
thank you very much, man.
but do you see yourself as being like going up on that, Steve Vai level? Like, you're so crazy good
Yeah.
that you can't play
Oh,
with
thank you.
it.
Well,
It's like,
I take that. Thank you, man. That's very kind of you. And I do. I've always dreamt of doing a solo type shred thing. And Vi, Joe Satriani, those guys were heroes.
yeah.
Gary Moore was like my big one, and then like Rory Gallagher. Some of those guys, Joe Bonamassa. I'm huge into blues too, and all of that was like, oh, I always idolized like those guitar players, and it's like I always kind of wanted to do that. And thankfully enough, I'm kind of in the start of it, and thankfully it's been going very well. And again, thank you to everybody who's been making this happen. Let's just see where it goes, and why not? Why not shoot for the stars? So we'll see.
Well, now
We'll see.
for like the music writing as opposed to, do you find it easier to write music as a solo artist or with a band? Which is
Yeah.
easier?
See, that's a good question because it is. It's actually for me as of right now, it's still more difficult to write solo instrumental music. Writing for a band and a vocalist is a little bit easier, at least for me. When I made the switch to concentrating more on instrumental music, it was definitely an adjustment, and I had to kind of think of like the leads and solos more as vocal lines or melodies instead of just a regular guitar solo. So it was a challenge at first for sure, and thankfully through rain and fire getting it out there, and kind of just seeing like what would happen, and then now I think I'm like, all right, then let's kind of move on and keep it improving as well. So
Well, yeah, because like making the music, you're looking at it as in with a band. All right, cool.
yeah,
Intro, bridge,
yeah.
breakdown, rhythm, just kind of simple things. But now you have a whole freaking, 3-5 minutes of doing, all right,
Yeah,
I got to do a looping track of all rhythm,
yeah.
and then how am I going to throw in my lead solos in there?
Yeah, and it's for me too. It's like, how am I going to keep myself, and not only myself, but how am I going to keep the listener entertained? And it's like I have to make sure that it's like, hey, this has got to be pretty fluid, or if I'm not going to listen to it, then who is? Kind of situation. And it's just we're all our worst critics, but it's kind of one of those things. But you're right. It is a little harder for me to watch or not. It's harder for me to write for solo stuff for sure.
Now, for recording wise, it's kind of like, again, this is like we're in these weird crossroads now of everything
Yeah.
being digital,
Yep.
mobile, easy. Now, I saw you have a Mesa cab and you're doing
Yeah.
driftwood,
Yeah.
which I've never heard of driftwood. I don't know, I've never used them or whatnot. So, how are they?
Man, I'll tell you, I got introduced to driftwood when I was over in Germany with Lassie Lemaire in his studio, and we were recording an EP for my previous band, Mechanism. And I remember we were in the studio doing guitars, and he was like, "What amp would you like to track with?" And I mean, he has every freaking amp. So I'm looking in around, and he goes, "I would recommend this one." And I'm like, "What is that one?" And it was called the Driftwood. And I said, "Well, let's listen to it." And he goes, "If you like 5150s, it's basically a 5150 on steroids, but quiet, and the low end's tighter." And I was like, and it has like a built-in noise gate and a built-in tube screamer. And I'm like, what? And so
Wow.
like he plugged it in, and it just like instant. I was like, oh my God, this is the sound. And then we ended up using that amp with another German amp called it was like an Ear Force. It's not a very common amp, or at least one that's well known, but it was again like a heavier, like a VH4 type sound thing. But anyway, so then fast forward to now, I got in touch with Driftwood. I had talked to them previously about building me an amp, and I was just like, I want my own amp. And Lassie actually gifted me his 50-watt version. And it was just mind blowing. It was a crushing, and it was a prototype. So it was like one of those things. It was like, oh my God, it's amazing. So then I asked him, I was like, can we build another 50-watt, but it have like a different sound or a different vibe to it? And he was like, absolutely. And he put a noise gate into it with 6L6. And then he's also got a switch called a sizzle switch, which is like an extra gain boost or something, which just crushes. And I love those amps. So if I'm using an amp, I'm probably using a Driftwood um, of some sort, either my 51 or the one from Lassie.
So now you're doing everything, all your songs are recorded through that driftwood.
Well, not all of them. I'm actually when I'm recording, it's usually like a blend between the Neural Fortin stuff, but actually majority of it is the SLT or STL Will Putney plugin. That one, and I think what else is there? There's another Neural. Oh, the Polini plugin as well.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been using those. Yeah,
Yeah,
those are sweet.
that's been bumped a lot lately. A
Yeah,
lot.
it's a great plugin. It's great. The effects are what as a lead player, I tend to lean towards those, and I'm just like, oh, it's mind blowing. But majority of my sounds the Will Putney plugin that just crushes, and it's just like you can't you can't fight with it.
Well, I just downloaded the MLS Roots, and it's their 5150 style amp. And it's interesting with the sets, because even when like right off the bat, everything at noon on their register presets, the fucker
Uh-huh.
chugs like right at noon. Nothing else changed to it. But it's cool that they have these interesting other presets. I just like to mess around with them when they have. They'll say
Hmm.
like dad rock, new metal, metalcore.
I love the names. Yeah,
And I'm like, wow, actually, the metalcore is pretty fucking legit. And I've been messing around with that more. And it's kind of like,
nice.
this goes into like this mobile way we're at now, where everyone can now download a plugin, an affordable plugin, whether
Yeah.
it be a subscription based like through Neural, and
Hmm.
write music versus having an app and plugging in old style with a freaking mic.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a convenience nowadays. And now that the convenience has actually turned into a legitimate like contender versus the real thing, it's like and two, it's a more affordable. I think it comes down to those kind of situations because not every musician lives in a house with 40 acres around. They're in apartments or like myself, I'm in an
Yeah.
apartment, and I have to be rather quiet sometimes. So, that's my reasoning for it. And at the same time too, they sound great. These plugins, especially from Neural, STL, all those places, they're just coming out of the woodwork and just coming out with really quality stuff that just, a lot of studios are replacing their amps and they're using those the majority of the time. So, you got something good when that's happening. So, for sure.
Do you think the OG analog way is gonna probably like maybe give it another decade and it's gonna be phased out?
I think I don't know if it'll ever phase out. I think it'll become more of a rarity for sure. I think there will always be that vibe that you just can't replicate. And sometimes you do end up getting a better sound that way, and I think it all just kind of depends on the situation, and it also kind of depends on what does happen, because yeah, I could see it fizzing out or maybe potentially, but I don't think it will. I think that sound, that warm tube sound of some stuff
Yeah.
will definitely just, you can't replace it.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
why I ended up getting the Mesa cab because I was like, I miss hearing just a cab push a little bit, and it sounds crazy with the driftwood. So I was like, yes.
I'm finally stoked to get it. I'm having coming in next week, Boss Katana, because I've heard nothing but great things for them. So I was like, I
Yeah,
figured,
those are sick. Those are sick. I know
and then,
Andy. I think Andy talks very highly of them as well.
the Katana, and then I'm gonna have it plugged up to my Ignator cab, which they're not around anymore. They don't make those cabs, and it's a 4x12,
Yeah,
and it's a fucking beast.
nice. That's killer. That's gonna be loud.
So I yeah, in that sense, I think like stuff like that with brands when they discontinue certain stuff, like the
Hmm.
old 5150s and stuff like that. That I think the original Marshall apps back in like say 1980s, those one that sound I don't think you
Yeah.
can replicate.
No, no, and that's what. Yeah, it's its own beast. You can get close, but there's always going to be that little thing that's going to be missing. And whether it's that little sparkle or just whatever it is, it's the nuances of the playing. It could be anything. But yeah, I don't think it'll ever be truly like replicated. It's close, but yeah, no.
Well, that was a perfect segue to guitar because you're sponsored by ESP, man.
Yeah, yeah. Oh
You're
yeah, I love them. Thank you, ESP.
now it's like so you have 4 LDTs, correct? Or something like 4 or 5?
I have a couple guitars. I think I have let's see. I think I have like four LTDs, and I think every time I get one, I luck out. Like because there's always that argument, the ESP versus the LTD, and it's like these LTDs definitely go toe to toe with my customs, or my real ESPs, and it's just. I think it really just has to deal with, ESP just being such quality control freaks. And, they are just super, super, super detailed into that. And I have never seen a bad guitar leave that warehouse, and even if it is like very chip, like the smallest tiny microscopic chip, it doesn't leave. Or they, sell it as a B stock or something.
Yeah.
But, it's just the quality is amazing, and the woods are the same woods. If mahogany's mahogany in a sense, it's just kind of more like hands-on rather than how like how they all put them together. But they're great guitars. I can't speak highly enough. They've treated me amazingly over the years, and I'm just so thankful to be with them, and I'm looking forward to advancing, with them as well, because I would love to maybe put out a guitar one day that glows in the dark for everybody.
Well, it's funny. I like to consider them like they're kind of like this. They are the PRS without the PRS price tag.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's a good analogy. I mean, they have so many affordable guitars that will beat any guitar in that price range by far. And it's just really cool, to see them always putting out quality stuff. And it shows. Everybody loves ESP. Everybody knows who they are. Everybody's had it, maybe at least had one or played one, and they're everywhere. And it's just cool to be a part of, the greatest guitar company of all time.
And I think the
They didn't pay me to say
1000.
that.
I think the LDC 1000 is like the most used one.
Yeah.
I've noticed.
Yeah, I love the 1000 series. Like I have two EC 1000. Actually, yeah, I have two EC 1000s, and they're just phenomenal guitars, and they sound killer. And there's been some ones that I modify, and they still sound killer. And it's just like and the best thing is too is they're very roadworthy. That's very important. There was not a lot of tuning issues or anything like that I've ever had as far as me being on the road with them. Being in like extreme cold to extreme heat. I've been in all of it. And like the guitars were always on point, and there was never any like major adjustments. And that was like my LTVs all the way through. So that was the biggest thing for me. I was like, wow, these really do, stand up.
And it's like in my myself, I'm like I'm in between. Like I have some favorites, but I still like having every company to be able to go back to. And like I have two Washburns.
Oh yeah, classic, nice.
Jackson, which one of my pride and joys is the Washburn N2 Nuno Betancourt. The fucker is
Nice.
it's tiny because Nuno Betancourt's a tiny dude.
Yeah.
But for some reason, that little fucker chugs, and it's a great guitar. And then my Jackson Rhodes, Schecter, I have a Schecter Damien FR, which
Nice.
I mean everyone loves. I don't think Floyd Rose is that hard to tune, honestly. I mean,
Yeah, it's a love and hate relationship. It's like you love it because of all the things you can do with it, the way it feels, the way it sounds. But then it's like, you have those issues sometimes that may happen. But, I think too, it's just a lot of people talking like, oh my God, making it all worse than it really is, because it's not. It's just a balance type game
it's
you
like,
got to
if you
play.
take the time to understand how to tune a Floyd Rose correctly, because you can damage it really quickly too.
Yeah, that too. That's the scary part.
Because it's like if you don't release tension up top, you can bend the hooks in the Floyd Rose when
Yeah.
you're trying to tune it, and
Yeah.
that will fuck it up. Then you have to get rebended or get a brand new Floyd Rose put in there.
Yeah. Thank God for guitar techs. Thank God.
But it's, again, once you got it rigged up, man, I don't leave. Mine stays in C. I'm a drop C fan, and I leave it there. But it's a beast, and when you leave it at you're on it, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah. There's definitely guitars I have, like my Blood Splatter guitar, that will always stay in the tuning that it's in because it just sounds the best, and that's just kind of what it is. I don't know what it is. It's just the magic of that guitar, but like it's just like I could never drop tune it any lower. I think it's in D. I think it's in D standard, but like right there is like the perfect. It's like ideal, and that's like I won't ever change it.
Now, let's go into like pickups and whatnot. Active versus passive.
I love the EMG 5766 pickup because it's actually a blend of both.
Yeah.
Which is why I like it, because it's got the big open passive, wall of sound, but it's got the active, kind of compressed attack, that you just kind of miss with an open, passive pickup. But lately, I've really, really been digging on the EMG Bone Breakers because they're Kirk Hammett signature pickups, but because I'm dropped so low, they actually like tighten up the low end, and they kind of like give it like this little mid-range punch. So it doesn't, it like cleans up the low end, and it just makes it like not muddy. And I was very surprised, and I was like, wow, I didn't really think that these pickups would be so great, but for lower tunings, they work great. And I've been really digging on those lately.
I love the EMG death, but I'm also a big Seymour Duncan fan.
Yeah.
Big Seymour Duncan. Love them, especially in Les Paul style guitars. It's like they just hold it so much a little bit better wise. At least I think playing wise.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I have not had the, well, actually, wait, no, that's a lie because I did have a guitar that came with Seymour Duncan's. It had the Sentient and Pegasus set, and they actually sounded good. I was impressed. Uh, they were kind of missing some stuff for me just because I guess it's probably my ear. But I would have to agree with because I did have some EMG passive pickups that I had in an old Les Paul back in the day, and I think they were like the Alexi Lehigh set, the passive ones
Oh,
that he
okay.
has. Yeah,
They were the
man,
8185s, I think.
yeah, they crushed, and I was impressed with that. And that Les Paul, like you said, because they're heavier, they're thicker, they have more wood, so more mass and more tone. So yeah, I would agree.
But it's just funny. It's like no matter what it comes down to, it's like whether you have your style pickups, it's also going to be in the way you play with your pedals,
Oh yeah, yeah.
put it
Tone's
together.
all in your fingers. It's
Yeah,
all in your fingers.
and it kind of, are you more of a digital effects pedal person, or are you going still analog, have your whole freaking stomp box set up?
Well, actually, funny story about that. I have been using the Kemper Profiler for the majority of the last, I'd say 5 years maybe, for my live rig, and I also have the stage that I use for like smaller shows or fly dates or whatever the case may be. It's just
Yeah.
a more portable rig. But lately, and all my effects would have been in there and stuff like that. But lately, I have just gotten into a pedal by a guy that his name is Michael Klein, and he builds a pedal called the Lonely Ghost, and it's a delay, a reverb, and a boost pedal all in one.
Holy shit.
And man, I'll tell you what, listen, I'm not just saying this, but this pedal has changed everything. And I'm just like, wow, for a lead player and for leads or like big ambient like sounds like that, man, this thing just rules. And for some reason, like it makes all the notes just sound so much better. And I don't know what happens or what's going on in there, but I'll tell you, he has completely killed it on this pedal. And I think Keith Merrow just ordered one or just got a hold of one. And there's some pretty big name guys getting their hands on this pedal all of a sudden because it's just so good. And now what's happening is I'm running it through my effects loop in my Kempers. So I'm actually not even using any of the effects in the Kempers anymore. I'm actually using that pedal and just turning on the effects loop on and off. So it's like that's what's kind of changing my rig and my game a little bit. So it kind of went one way and now it's kind of back, but now it's like it's merged. So I'm like best of both worlds. All right, it just sounds so good you can't replicate it. So I'm just like, all right, fuck it, I'll use that.
Oh shit! Now I'm gonna take a look at this now. Wow, shit.
Definitely, definitely. And the crazy part is he will make anything you come up with, and he also makes all these other pedals that are just mind blowing. But it's just I just haven't gotten into all of them yet. But the Lonely Ghost is something else. I highly recommend it. Not just saying that. I swear to God, it's so good. It's really good. It's really, really good.
And it's like I still have a few pedals I like to go to when I'm messing around playing and recording. But I have a Line 6 Pod HDX 500, and
Nice, nice, nice.
this fucker, you got to take the time. It's definitely a princess because well, you have to take your time with it because you can put any cab you want, any sound, put anything you want on this. Has MIDI freaking plug in to put in there for your sounds, effects, loops, whatever. Everything has everything.
Yeah.
It's a monster, but fuck, when you dial your tone in, god damn, it's perfect.
It's worth it. It's worth it if I love gear and I love going in and turning all the knobs and just going in and looking at all the possibilities, and it's like when you finally get to it, it's like, oh, that was worth it. So I can totally understand because I was doing that with the Kemper, I'd be going in and doing everything like that.
I'm loving that you can just do it on your computer now. That makes it so much
Oh, so much easier. Oh,
Dude.
so much easier. And you can do it. You can do it. Yeah, you don't even need to be like, well, because like my one rig is at my storage unit. So I'll use the stage. I'll just dial in some stuff on my computer, and then I'm able to share it. Like it's so amazing now, like what you're able to do, and I'm just like it blows my mind,
Well,
and it
even like
sounds so killer.
the new one that Line 6 put out, the Pod Go, the Helix Go,
Hmm.
and they have Bluetooth app now where you can change up everything from your phone mid set.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
That's next level. So you don't even have to worry about a computer. You can just change some quick changes right there.
Right there on your phone or like an iPad or something. Yeah, dude, that's
Yeah.
killer. That's a great idea. Great idea. Kemper needs to come on with it.
Well, it's like, man, pedal games have evolved, man. And it's like, I think the modern musician is growing from, I know some
Yeah.
people are, you know, some of the old guys are giving people like, oh, everything's digital now. You know, it's all back, man. We had boss distortion. We had one distortion and an overdrive pedal. And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like, this is how music is evolving now. It's like, you can just do so much more.
Well, it's like, I have several friends that I could literally count and be like, hey, they were so against the Kemper or the Axe Effects or whatever you want to call it, but they were mainly against the Kemper because of its being digital and not a real amp. And then I can tell you, like over time, they'd come to my shows or whatever the case may be, or come to wherever they would hear my Kemper, and they would just be like, "Oh my God!" Like, okay, let me. And then they'd start scratching their heads and be like, well, I don't really feel like carrying this cab anymore. And man, that's all the gear that you brought, Bobby? Like, what the hell is this? You're already set up, and then it's like it became more of a convenience thing, and because the sound quality is definitely there, and sometimes too, I've had profiles that are better, they just sound better, and then the real amp, I don't know how, but they do, and it's like, hey, why not have something like that and save yourself the backache, but again, they're not paying me to say that. I'm just saying it's funny.
Dude, rock is evolving. It's not dying.
Yeah.
The rock,
no, for sure.
The way this digital stuff is making, again, more affordable for people to pick up the guitar, produce, mix, whatever the fuck, make bands.
Yeah.
People are putting projects, during quarantine, meeting people on Instagram, whatever the fuck, and doing a project together.
Yep. It's super cool. I think, there's always a positive to a negative for sure. And because of this crisis and stuff like that, like, I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of great music coming out of this because, everybody's had the time to, maybe write, record, whatever the case may be, collaborate, meet new people and start new connections. And it's definitely got a positive somewhere. And that's just the way I kind of like to look at it too, So I agree for sure.
Oh, I think honestly this year, 2019 was great. It was a huge release for music, especially in the rock. But like 2020, even with the shit show where everyone's shows being canceled, everything stopped. But people were putting out music more than ever, singles, EPs, covers, and I think pushing themselves creatively in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think some of the biggest drops, besides Ozzy's new album earlier this year, Code Orange is one of my big standouts for this year. It's like, dude.
Reba's an ESP.
Dude, she
family.
is freaking phenomenal, man.
My girlfriend loves her. We saw them, it was like 2 NAMs ago when they played, or they opened for Meshuggah, which was crazy. And I remember we were watching from back by the sound booth or whatever, and my girlfriend was like, holy shit, that chick is amazing. Oh my God, I want to whip my hair around like her. And like ever since then, we've kind of dug them, and obviously I respect what they do, and we're tied with the ESP thing, so that's cool. And her guitar rules too. That Viper with the pointy headstock, I was like, oh, that's killer. Dude, I was like, that's really killer.
What they dropped today made me so proud, like happy as a rock fan to see like creativity like this not dying. They just like dropped a whole acoustic live album and show.
Cool, man.
Straight MTV Unplugged status, and I'm just
that is so freaking awesome. And I am so upset I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it yet, but I did see that they released it, and I love that. Like those old MTV Unplugged, like dude, those were the best. Like total live. There was no BS, you know, it was straight to the point, like here's the music, and it was always, it sounded so good, you
Yeah,
know.
man.
It was amazing, and I
I,
think I salute them for that for sure.
yeah,
And that's not an easy thing to do.
I'm making that my Friday night tonight to watch that show. So I'm like, damn, it's gonna be so great to see it. But like, what do you think about the rock music right now? Like the current status it's at from this year, and where do you think, like, is it evolving? Is it stagnant? Or
I think we're definitely evolving. I think the whole industry is evolving, and I don't think we've really stopped evolving ever since the whole Napster and stuff like that. Because ever since then, you know, the whole industry changed, right? So we're all trying to find the different ways to make it all kind of work and, you know, be fair. And, you know, I really think that there should be some sort of restructuring, you know, for musicians, because it's like, you know, it just, you know, everything kind of needs to be more equaled out. But this is an evolution, and you know, especially with what's going on now, and basically having our industry completely taken away overnight. You know, I think not only has forced us to start thinking more creative, you know, creatively, coming up with different ways to play shows and bring this type of entertainment to people, and yet still, you know, innovate new ways, like the live stream and taking advantage of technology and stuff like that. Like right now, like I'm talking to you. This would be a normal interview if we were talking person to person, but you know, we're talking over Instagram right now, and people are able to watch us. And so the messages are still being able to be spread, but it's just a little bit of in a different manner. And we're still trying to figure it out, because, you know, we all still want to, you know, go back to live music and all be together. And, you know, I think the only time anyone could ever go to a rock concert with no friends and then walk out with like the whole freaking, you know, with 50. It's crazy. You know, it's just, the rock world is so powerful and strong, and we'll get through this, you know, but it's just gonna, you know, it's an involvement. It's definitely for sure.
and maybe you've seen him. His name's Finn McKinney, the punk rock NBA
Oh
guy
yeah, yeah,
on YouTube.
yeah.
He kind of grinded my gears a bit. He put out 2 episodes now of like saying how rock is dying, and people like Post Malone, Machine Gun Kelly are the new rock faces, and that they're they're helping pick up Ozzy or helping pick up Travis Parker, and
Hmm.
and I'm just like, he's looking at it the wrong way. They appreciate the rock music and they want to put out rock music.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I wouldn't really necessarily agree with what he's saying.
And he even boldly even said like bands like Godsmack and them, they're trying to
Yeah,
stay relevant. And I'm just like, whoa, what? they're selling out shows for a reason. And it's like,
yeah.
I think last year I was in Florida for Welcome to Rockville,
Hmm.
Oklahoma, Louder Than Life, in Kentucky. And it's just like seeing the age group variance from young
Oh
little
yeah.
kids to teenagers to 20-year-olds. I mean, dude, it's a family. Rock is
Oh,
a
for
family.
sure. Absolutely, absolutely. And the one time I can think that really stands out was when I saw Metallica at the first Orion festival that they did, and I never saw anything like this before. But like, you know, there were people from so many different countries. They were wearing their flags. You know, they had T-shirts. They were in groups, and everybody, no matter where you were from, where you were standing, everybody was talking to each other, and they all had that commonality of Metallica and heavy music. And you know, you maybe you weren't wearing a Metallica shirt, but you were wearing a Slayer shirt, and you heard somebody from 50 feet away, yeah, Slayer, fuck yeah. You know, it's like, it's just, it doesn't matter, you know. And it's so cool because there's no judgment, and everybody just looks out for each other. You know, no one's really trying to kill somebody in the mosh pit, and if somebody falls down, everybody stops and picks them up, you know, because they
Yeah.
care. And no, it's like nowhere else it's like the world just needs to be more heavy metal. Like seriously, like, you know what I mean? It's just like, come on. Like we could all be like, you know, just having a good time. But, you know, I think it's just a process. And like you said, it's an evolution for sure.
Dude, it's been an absolute pleasure, man, talking to you. I know
Oh
you're
man,
here.
likewise. Likewise.
Dude, I look forward to making my way over there because I know I'm going to be seeing Richie and all those dudes when they're finally can play. And
Right? Oh man, I'm like, guys, I want to see that song played live, please. Like, come
oh,
on.
dude. Well, they're also waiting to release some new stuff and then put that
Yeah.
I'll put it on live, and so it's like I wish they put it on Spotify, but right now you can only watch it on YouTube.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they'll get it together or whatever.
But I'm still in contact with them, and they're still. I mean, I got Tehran. He's close to me. He's over in LA, so.
Dude, oh man, man, we had some great times at some NAMs and like at the Rainbow and stuff, man. The pizza, oh, I love him, man. If you get to say hi, I'll have to message him too. I haven't talked to him in a minute.
Oh, dude, it's even sad that Nam's gone, man. It's just like, and they
Oh, yeah.
so much changed this year. So much changed, but still future. Do you think you would have put out these two solo? Do you think the response would have been as huge with your solo music?
I think about that. I do. I think about that. And, maybe this is a situation where, timing is everything. And I was lucky enough to have the situation to where I had the ability to, everybody was home and, quarantined or whatnot. And, it was like I felt like it was kind of like my duty because I could have held on to everything and just waited, but I was like, no, I have to put it out because people need something, at least, if you're not listening to my songs, you're listening to something else because music just happens to, help and get us all through stuff, and always. And, it was difficult to, try and figure out what was going on because no one had seen anything like that before. And, totally unprepared. And it was just kind of like, oh, okay, well, what do you do? But, I think it has been a blessing in disguise, and I'm just internally grateful for it, for sure.
Oh, I mean, it's Rain and Fire has got over 100,000 views already, dude. And that's only within like 3 weeks, almost a month.
Crazy, man, crazy.
So, dude, congratulations on that, Guitar World, and your new single dropping out next week, which obviously I will continue to support as well.
Thank you so much, man.
Need music like this, man. And dude, I look forward to making it over there in Florida and fucking hopefully we can jam and
dude,
all hang out.
Absolutely.
Fucking do whatever, man.
Absolutely.
Dude, thank you again, brother. I'm gonna have this all edited up so it's gonna look all nice and pretty for YouTube and whatnot. Cool. I'll have all his links below to Spotify, YouTube, his MySpace, which you can see still is top 8 probably up there.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you for everybody else for joining and whatnot. Be sure to check out all his music as well and the article the Guitar World did. Fucking great. And he's dropping a new single next week. All right. Metal is alive. Rock is alive. Instrumental rock is still alive.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Brother. Thank you, man. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I look forward to coming back.
Yes, sir, brother. Have a great weekend, and I hope you guys stay safe too, man.
You too. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.